This is Module 4, Lesson 1 through 3, homework. Okay, we're dealing with solving linear equations in one variable using everything like collecting like terms, distributive property. Okay. Maya and David each solved an equation as shown below. Here's Maya, here's David. Here are their problems, and here are their solutions. Choose the number from each drop-down menu that best completes the sentence. Maya made a mistake in step blank. David made a mistake in step blank. Well, let's see where their mistakes are. If we start and we look at this, what we have here is 5. We distribute this, okay? So we should have 5x minus 15. There's our mistake right there. That should say 5x minus 15, not minus 3, okay? So her mistake is in step 1. Let's look at David. 3x plus 3 is equal to 2 times x minus 1. We need you to use distributive property here. So we got 3x plus 3 is equal to 2 times x, which is 2x, 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. So this step is correct. Now let's see what we're going to do. Okay, well, what it looks like they're doing here is they're trying to move this 2x over here. So he's subtracting 2x from each side. He subtracted 2x here. Said 3x minus 2x. See, and he left the numbers in place. 3x minus 2x is 1x, which is x, plus 3 is equal to, and 2x minus 2x is 0. So, there's our mistake. That's a negative 2 right there, and he's got a positive 2. So he made a mistake in this step here, step 3. Okay? Let's look at number 2. Which value of y makes the equation below true? So here's our equation. We need to solve it for y. Okay, here's our line. We need to clean this up. I've got distributive property here. That would be negative 4y. Distribute here, minus 8. Okay, now let's distribute our negative 6. Negative 6y and a negative 6 times a negative 3 gives me a positive 18. Okay, now let's collect like terms. A negative 4y minus 6y is a negative 10y. A negative 8 plus 18. I just do this to know which numbers go together. Negative 8 plus 18 would give me plus 10 equals 12. Now this is as simple as it gets, and I need to start crossing the equal sign to get the variables by itself. Negative 10 times y plus 10. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. What I do to one side, I do to the other. This is gone. I now have negative 10y is equal to 12 minus 10 gives me 2. Let's divide both sides now because we've still got our equal sign here. Let's divide both sides by negative 10. And y would give me negative 2/10. Now, can I reduce negative 2/10? What if I take negative 2/10 and I divide both of those by 2 over 2? Wouldn't that give me negative 1/5? So my answer is negative 1/5. Okay? Now let's look at the third problem. Solve for x. Here's our equation. There's our equal sign. This is already in its simplest form because here are our x's and here's our numbers. But here I can combine these like terms, 7x minus 2x to get 5x plus 4 equals 8 minus 3x. Now I need to get the x's all on one side and the numbers on the other. Okay, so what if I add this 3x to both sides? I now have 8x plus 4 is equal to 8. So what if I subtract the 4 from both sides? That would give me 8x is equal to 4. Now let's divide both sides by 8. X is 4/8. If I take 4/8 and I simplify it by factoring out 4 over 4, I get 1/2, right? So my answer, my solution is 1/2. Consider the equation below. Negative y plus 2 equals negative 1/2 in parentheses, 8y plus 8. Write an equivalent equation that applies the distributive property. Okay, so let's just apply the distributive property. Y plus 2 is equal to negative 1/2 times 8 would give me, let's look and see, negative 1/2 times 8, that's 8 over 1, right? That is negative 8 over 2, okay, which is negative 4. Now, doesn't that make sense? Half of 8 is 4. Negative 4, that's a negative 4. So that's negative 4y. And negative 1/2 of 8 would be negative 4, okay? Then solve the equation for y. Okay, let's solve it for y. Let's add 4y to each side. Since we're subtracting, we do the opposite of what's there. That would give me 3y plus 2 equals negative 4. Okay, let me subtract 2 from each side. And 3y would equal negative 6. Let's divide each side by 3. And y would be equal to negative 2. The answer is negative 2. Okay, Dominic solves the equation 3 in parentheses x minus 5 plus 2x equals 0 for x using the steps below. Drag and drop the correct values to make his work and answer correct. Now, sometimes these things look a little strange. You have to be careful. 3 times x would give me 3x, okay? And it says plus, so I'm going to say it's going to be a minus 15. So wouldn't that be plus a negative 15? Okay, see, I need a negative 15 in here. Plus 2x equals 0. Okay? So we combine like terms. So 3x and the 2x gives me 5x. Okay, and what he's done here is he has added the 15 to both sides, right? 5x is equal to 15. 15 divided by 5, which you do on both sides, x would be 3. Okay? Solve the equation for x. Okay, we've got distributive property because there are parentheses in there. 2 times 3 is 6x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, equal 14. Let's add 4 to both sides because we're crossing the equal sign, and we do the opposite of what's done. And what we do on one side, we do on the other. This is gone. 6x then is equal to 14 plus 4 is 18. Divide this by 6, and x would be equal to 3. Our solution is 3. Solve the following equation for x, and here's our equation. Okay, we've got distributive property. We know we do parentheses before we do anything else with adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4 is 8. Plus 3x equals 7. Now look at this. We still have some combining like terms we can do, right? 2x plus 3x is 5x minus 8 equals 7. Okay, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. 5x is equal to 15. Let's divide both sides by 5. And x is equal to 3. Okay? The solution is 3. What value of x makes this equation true? In other words, let's solve for x. Okay? Here's our equal sign. There's 16. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. 16 is equal to negative 4x plus 8. Okay? Let's subtract 8 from each side. 8 is equal to negative 4x. Let's divide both sides by negative 4. X is equal to negative 2. Your solution is negative 2. Okay, what value of x is the solution to this equation? 2x plus 4 is equal to negative 2. Okay, well, in this case, all I need to do is subtract 4 from each side. That leaves me with 2x is equal to negative 2 plus negative 4 is negative 6. Divide both sides by 2. and x is negative 3. Okay. What's the solution to this one? Okay, we've got distributive property, so we need to do our distributive property. 2x minus 2 equals 4x plus 3. Both of those expressions are as simple as they can get. There's no collecting like terms or distributive property to deal with, so I need to get the x's on one side and the variables on the other. Since there's a positive 4x there, I'm going to do the opposite of that, negative 4x, and what I do to one side of the equal sign, I do to the other. 2x minus 4x is negative 2x, minus 2 is equal to 3. Okay, now I'm going to add this 2 to both sides, and I've got negative 2x is equal to 5. Let's divide both sides by negative 2, and x is equal to negative 5 halves. Okay, there's our solution. What's the solution here? Okay, well, this is as simple as it gets, so I need to use distributive property here. 1 minus 2x is equal to 4 times x, which is 4x, plus 4 times 3, which is 12. Get the x's on one side, the numbers on the other. Here I've got a positive 4x. The opposite of that is a negative 4x. This would give me 1 minus 6x is equal to 12. Okay, this is a positive 1. Let's subtract 1 from both sides. And that leaves me with negative 6x equals 11. Okay, now let's divide both sides by negative 6. So we can cross the equal sign. X gives me negative 11/6. Okay, there's my solution. What solutions to this equation? Okay, well, let's look at it and see. I've got some things I can combine here. 4x minus 6x gives me negative 2x plus 3 equals 1 minus x. Let's get the x's on one side, the numbers on the other. I'm going to add x to both sides. Negative 2x plus x, that's a 1x we know, will give me negative 1x plus 3 equals 1. Let's get the numbers on this other side. I'm going to do the opposite of the positive 3. That's a negative 3. So negative 1x would give me negative 2. Let's divide both sides by negative 1, and x would be, negative divided by negative is a positive. X is 2. And then let's solve for this one. Look, we've got distributive property. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Okay. Let's add 15 to each side. And 5x would be equal to 27. Okay, 12 plus 15 is 27. Divide both sides by 5, and x would be equal to 27/5. Our solution is x is equal to 27/5. Okay, that's all the problems in that homework set.